Welcome to The Money Hour with host Tina Mitchell and co-host Keelan Harvey. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome to the Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 2nd show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
You're local mortgage experts bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and how those events can affect your money. If you're hearing our show at a different time, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but to connect with our guest or any future guests you'd like to see, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And our lineup for today's show, we have Kwasi Bowie with Compass. They cover the upfront upgrades for sellers at no cost. Also in studio, Claire Jones with Clarification Coaching. I love that. Claire Jones with Clarificating Coaching. Clarifications. NeuroLeadership and Empowering Your Brain. And last guest in studio, Joe Mason with Caring Transition of South Puget Sound, Downsizing and Estate Sale Service. Great information and great guest on the show today. For more information or to talk with our guests, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And let's start the show today with a little money chat.
Money.
Now, Keelan, I wish that this was actually a live broadcast show so that our listeners could see you and Kwasi and your attire. Talk a little bit about what's going on and the passion behind this.
Yeah,
our listeners want to know about you, Keelan.
Well, a little secret of me. I played soccer since I was 3. My family's from England. I'm first born in America. Grandparents from Manchester. Half my family still lives in England. And grew up my entire life playing the sport of soccer. It's hard for me to say that. Soccer. It's very American. I want to say football.
Say that again.
Football. Go, my
it.
son. I could go on for days with that. But anyway, so Manchester United's been a passion of mine since I was very young. I played semi-professional soccer all the way. I mean, my dad, wonderful man, took me all over God's green earth when I was a kid to play soccer. And, we traveled state to state and weekends. Huge commitment. So shout out to those parents out there who are supporting their kids in sports because it's a great commitment. But soccer is my passion. I have my friend here, Kwasi. He's an awesome agent, but I've also known him since high school. And he's got a passion with Manchester United. And we're also both part of a local organization called the Red Army. And it's the second nationally recognized Manchester United fan club in the nation. Pretty
I've
cool.
seen some pictures. I mean, I've never seen what happens in, live in action with you guys, but it looks like you have a little bit of fun.
It's fun.
And definitely passionate about the sport. And
if you find a game, you go to West Seattle Brewery, I guarantee there's 50 guys there drinking beer and chanting and having a good time. Or coffee, because some of the games are really early, like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But join us. It's a lot of fun.
That's so awesome. And I just wanted to share, for 2019, I always like to bring a game changer into our business. And some of my game changers turn out to be game changers. And, having a radio show 10 years running was definitely a game changer 10 years ago. Some of them don't turn out, which is okay because you've got to just try something new and try something that you think is going to be a big impact, not just for your business, but the people that you serve. And so I came up with Coffee with a Superstar. And what this is it is a live Facebook show or Facebook live show every Monday from 11 to 11:30. Victoria, which is here, actually, she does some behind the scenes fun stuff here at the radio, but she comes with me and we travel to the real estate agent's office. And they are the best of the best in the industry, meaning that based on the number of loans that they're closing or homeowners and sellers that they're helping, that's how they get on the show. So it really is the best of the best that are making a big difference in the real estate space. And my show is with real estate agents for real estate agents. So it's a place to where they can learn what these agents are doing and how they're doing it so that they can be inspired to take their business to the next level. So a shout out, because I know we have a lot of real estate agents that listen to the show, as well as are the consumers out there. Thank you very much for being loyal listeners of the show. But for my real estate agents, this is really great because you don't have a lot of shows that is just specifically for a business space. And so whether you're an industry leader yourself, if you are, show me your numbers, get on the, Coffee with a Superstar. But you'll definitely learn something from my superstars. Or if you're an agent that wants to take your business to the next level, or maybe you're listening to the show and you're a new agent in the industry and you're like, what the heck do I do? Listen to the show, again, a Facebook Live every Monday from 11 to 11:30. And I think you really need to be careful where you get your perspective from. And I talk about this in my coaching program that I do for real estate agents. There's a 1 percentile, the best of the best, only 1%. So that means left over is 99% that are not getting the results that you aspire to get. Now, in the 80-20 rule, yes, you have 20% that are doing 80% of the business. So there's 20% out there that are really rocking it and doing great things. But majority are the 80% that are getting 20% of the results. And not only are they not doing business that you want to aspire to be, but they're not living that life that you want either. So you really have to be careful who you listen to, because majority of the people are not getting the results that you want. And who you're listening to is where your perspective comes from. And that has a ripple effect on your business and your life and your family and your community and everything else. So again, I just wanted to create this space so that you could hear from the best of the best and really get your perspective from industry leaders. So yeah, that's what I had for Money Chat today.
I love that, Tina. Success leaves clues. That's why I
right?
I
love that.
Leaves
Success
clues.
leaves clues.
And that's true for all industries.
Yeah.
Besides, I mean, even in our industry. So, hence why I follow you. So I just pick up your clues and hopefully, shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars.
Yeah, I've been doing it for. I've only been doing it for over 20 years. So hopefully, I could teach something, right? And that's it for your Money Check. Coming up next on the Money Hour, they cover the upfront upgrades for sellers at no cost. Kwasi Bowie with Compass, right here on 1150 AM, KKNW, after the short break.
Hi, this is Kwasi with the Kwasi Homes team. As a real estate agent, I love helping my clients make the most of their investment. When you are selling your fixer-upper, tear-down, or buildable land, you not only want to make the most out of your property, you have so many other factors to consider. Can the buyer get financing? Do you want a bunch of people walking through the property? How long will it take to close and get my money? That's where I come in. Strategy and experience are critical with these types of properties. I'll help you measure your options, hammer out the details, and get the best value. If you are considering selling your fixer-upper, teardown, or buildable land, give me a call, 206-854-4132. That's 206-854-4132. This is Kwasi with the Kwasi Homes team. Start by investing in experience and strategy. All conversations are confidential. Call 206-854-4132.
Would you like to make a real difference for local individuals and families that are struggling with poverty, homelessness, abuse, and violence? Assistance League of the East Side is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization that works to improve the lives of our neighbors every day. With your generosity, we can help individuals and families right here in our community through our philanthropic programs, including Operation School Bell. This year, Operation School Bell has provided 3,500 local children in need the opportunity to shop for new clothes, shoes, and coats. This helps them focus on learning, and they go to school with more confidence. To learn more about how you can become a volunteer with our organization or make a tax-deductible donation, visit aleastside.org.
Are you going through a transitional period in your career or in your life? Are you tired of not being able to reach your personal and professional goals? Claire Jones at Clarifications Coaching helps people just like you harness the power of their minds to fulfill their potential and live their best lives. She uses the latest neuroscience research to inform her coaching practices and takes pride in supporting others along their own rewarding journeys towards self-empowerment. Claire abides by the highest guidelines and standards of professional coaching as set forth by the International Coach Federation, the world's largest association of professional coaches.
This is Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching. To learn more about my NeuroLeadership and Wellness Coaching services, visit my website at clarificationscoaching.com or follow me on Instagram at clarificationscoaching. Again, that's clarificationscoaching.com or at clarificationscoaching on Instagram.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 2nd show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts. It's a great day to talk about money, and that's what the show is all about. How to make money, save money, so that you can have a better quality of life for you, your family, and for your community. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We're here to connect you with our guest. If you have any questions, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, we have Kwasi Bowie with Compass, and they cover the upfront upgrades for sellers at no cost. Kwasi, thank you so much for coming into studio, because you're kind of a little local expert and media person with all the radio that you do, and it's just a real pleasure to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and a little bit about Kwasi. Serving the Puget Sound region since 2007. How do you rate success? Well, Kwasi has personally sold over 500 plus in his short career, and that doesn't even count what his team has sold. Kwasi has been making a name for himself in real estate industry since 2007. He has set standard of excellence by truly dedicating himself to his craft. He has a full-time team and well-trained real estate professionals who continuously strive to provide top quality service to his clients and customers. Kwasi Homes specializes in listing and selling of residential housing, new home sites, and investment opportunities. Whether you're looking for a new home to reside in or searching for the next addition home for your investment portfolio, Kwasi and his team is ready to assist you.
Yeah, he is.
And he's a friend
Yes,
of
he
Keelan,
is.
so that's like really special.
Yes, it is. Kwasi, let's hop right into it, buddy. We cover the upfront upgrades for sellers at no cost. Right away, I'm going, woo! Look
Yes.
What is
look
that?
at
Well, you
What's
know
that
what?
about?
You're talking about the money hour. This is using other people's money.
Love
Okay?
that.
Right? So essentially what we do is we give a consultation to a seller, and we say, hey, if you do these things to your home, we really think you're going to be able to boost the value, and we will give them the money for the upgrades, and they don't pay $1 until we sell the house, and then the exact amount of the invoice is what they would pay out of the proceeds. So obviously we would only do things that would make the seller money, more money than they would just selling it as is. And it's the exact amount of the invoice. So no interest, no fees, anything like that. So you're really just using our money to make more money off your home.
Well,
That's really awesome.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you go ahead.
My bad.
Yeah, I'm usually the one that's interrupting, so it's all good.
I got you back this time. Well, and you're spending money that's actually going to make a difference from a professional's opinion. You know, a lot of times people go in and they say, if I mow my lawn, it's going to be worth, X on the appraisal, and things like that. So that's huge. You go in and you get the most bang for their buck, right?
And another thing that we see is people maybe doing upgrades that they don't really need to do. So, maybe I want to do granite or I want to do quartz or whatever, but it's not going to get you in your particular area. It's not going to really boost as much value as if you just did some other kind of tile or some other different countertop. So we help to advise on all levels.
But it's so awesome because you have to take the emotional connection out of it. Unless you're doing this to live in your home, which then you wouldn't be working and getting this advantage that you can offer. It's a whole different thing, but you need to take your emotional out, and you need to really be able to target what's going to be for the masses and where your money is going to have the biggest bang for its buck. And, it's really awesome too what you're doing, because people have equity is stuck in their home, so they may not have even the possibility of getting money to do that.
Absolutely.
And if they did, do they want to use their own money or do they want to use your money? And obviously, the answer would be using your money. So what a great thing that you guys are doing. So what cannot be done in this program? So what type of work is not covered to be using your money?
Yeah, that's a great question. Really, all it is structural stuff. So we're not going to take out any walls. We're not going to do any additions. additions or anything like that. It's very much cosmetic things to the house, countertops, floors, painting, landscaping, pretty much all the surfaces of the house and outside we can touch and we can change. It's just we can't change the actual structure of the house.
Got it. Ben, you're advising, but if they wanted to do something different than your advice, which nobody should, but that still would be covered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So, Kwasi, how much does the homeowner pay for services?
So the homeowner won't pay for any services that have to do with our program specifically. We'll handle all the cost. However, when I mentioned that we don't do anything structural, let's say they did want to take out a wall or move a wall, they could pay for that. They could remove that wall and then we can go through and we can finish all those things. Again, that's really something that we just need to sit down. We need to advise you about whether or not you're going to get the benefit. I'm paying $1 for this, so I'm getting $5 or $10 out of it.
Yeah, so really
Yeah.
going through and doing that detail analysis with your expertise of what that's going to bring them profit when it's all said and done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you sit down with your potential sellers at a for a free consultation, a strategy session to kind of put this all together. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So contractors, are they finding their own contractors? Can they? Or I know that you have a list of the best for them to choose from, but if they chose to use their own, could they? Or how's that work?
Definitely, we would have to talk with them and just
Yeah.
kind of, they would absolutely have to make sure that they were going to fit within the timeline, because especially if we're doing a larger scope on the project,
Yes.
some things we have to wait until this is done to get somebody else in, and we all know how hard it can be to find contractors in
Yes.
this market right
Yeah.
now. So we have a strong list of contractors that we can just bring in, and we just know they're going to nail it and get it out and get it done on time.
And I would say, because you're using someone else's money, trust that they're protecting that money at a very high level. So use the resources and the people that they've put together to perform, just like you said, at a very high level and very efficiently.
Yeah, and the cost too. I mean, you might have somebody that's going to do it for you. Most likely, they're actually going to be more expensive, because our vendors know, like, hey, if we just keep doing this, they're consistently going to have work where,
Yes,
you know,
good
another
point.
contractor might not. So they have to make their money off of that particular project.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Kwasi, your job and what you're doing for these people is to get the most money out of the home, period. So you clearly have their best interests right out of the gate.
Absolutely.
You know, you're not putting any money in your pocket by doing this. You're helping them to get more money in their pocket by doing this.
Yeah, we really see it as something that people can use to even get to that house that they really want. So netting more money and ultimately taking more money and putting that into the other home. So they might even be able to move up in a price bracket, or just get more money for their home and put that money in their pocket, but still get into the house that they want. So lots of advantages for this program for the homeowner.
So are you guaranteeing, Kwasi, that they're going to make more money?
We don't necessarily guarantee it, but when we come in for that consultation, we're not going to advise you to use the program if you're not going to make money off of
Yeah.
it. I think that's the key. Just like we said at the beginning, people want to do upgrades to their home. It might not be worth it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in, we're going to give you advice. This is what you should do. Or maybe you don't even need to do anything. Let's sell the house as is. Let's bring a stager in. Let's get it done.
So what are you seeing, Kwasi, on, maybe an average of what people are able to profit from their home, and how much are you able to improve that profit by the advice that you're giving, the contractors that you're using for the lower cost, all of that? What would you, I know that's probably a hard thing to say, but
Yeah, because it really, really does depend. However, we know that staged homes sell for about 17% more money. Also, professional photography really makes a difference when you talk about over 90% of people starting their home search online. So having those great pictures, having your home appeal and have a great first impression can really bump up the value.
Yeah, so true.
And probably very specific to the home, like not everybody's going to like Grandma Ethel's carpet, so
Yes, for sure.
Well, who knows
Yes.
when that's coming back?
Yeah, well, and people were dealing with it in the previous market that we were just in. They're like, hey, I just want to get into a house. I'll deal with whatever.
Yeah, now not so much.
Yeah, inventory's increasing. So what are we doing to make sure that we're the home that gets sold and sold for the most amount of money?
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, again, that curb appeal. So I'm assuming, considering that you said, 17% if you stage, it's worth using professional stagers. Is that correct?
Correct. And we bring in absolute professional stagers. We can, if you have great furniture, we'll use the furniture that's there. They just might place it a little bit different. And it's nothing against how you live in your home. What shows the best on the photography? So we bring somebody in, whether we're using your furniture or we're bringing furniture in, we're going to make sure that your home is done and is in the best light when we put it on the market.
Yeah, just like anything else, and that's what the show is really about. The why behind this show was to provide the best of the best experts in all arenas regards financing and money, because again, you go back to the 1 percentile, there's only 1% of them out there. So, you really want to work with the best. So when it comes to the staging, are you guys having professionals that are coming in and doing that staging?
Yeah, so we have them, we bring them in at the beginning, even when we're talking about what repairs, if any, or upgrades to make to the home. We bring them in at that point. And then once everything's done, then we're coming back in and we're restaging the home, whether it's with their furniture or new furniture.
So is that staging process, because there's a cost associated to stagers, obviously. Is that a part of the process that's going into the money that they're borrowing your money or using your money at no interest, and then they're going to pay that back? Is that part of?
If they are using their own furniture, then I cover the cost of the stager.
Okay.
If we are bringing in furniture, we pay for that first month.
Got it.
And then they will pay for any monthly as it moves on.
Yeah, awesome. And if you have a great agent and you're listing your price for the price that you should, and you're in, an average market area, not out in the middle of nowhere, you're going to sell your home in a month.
Absolutely.
And you touch base, Kwasi, on photographers and using professional photographers. I mean, especially in this social media world we're in, and how much everybody's Googling homes nowadays and getting a look and all that. Or just, the things their agent sends them. It's all about that nice little touch that's going to stand above the rest. And I could imagine photography helps significantly.
Absolutely. And before, I've always used professional photographers, but being over at Compass, we actually have specific vendors who actually get trained in a way that we specifically shoot each property to.
Wow.
And so it's very detailed, but when you see the photos, even if it's two professional photos that are done, you can absolutely tell the difference. So at Compass, we just level everything up, even with this program. So it's just one of those things when it comes to professional photography, it's just a step above the rest.
Yeah, well, and I teach a coaching program for one time in your business, and it's about time management and efficiency, and at the highest level. And in this and what you're talking about, when you know what works, the angles to take, what to take, how many, and the process to go through, it's at a really high efficiency process as a plug and play, and you get the best results every single time. So I love that. As we're wrapping up our time, because we've got just about 60 seconds left here, what are you personally doing in this market, in this environment right now to help either your buyers or your sellers stand out?
I would say it's definitely the Compass Concierge program that we've been talking about today. I would say the other one is we give every single client a consultation, whether you're a buyer, you're a seller, absolutely free. There's no obligation. And I think that education is the best for this market because with inventory being where it is, where interest rates have kind of been up and down and leveled off, it's all about setting the right expectations and knowing what's happening into this market to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, well said. Thank you so much for coming in studio. Look forward to having you back, and I really appreciate your time.
Well, appreciate you having me.
And coming up next on the Money Hour, we are talking about NeuroLeadership and empowering your brain with Claire Jones with Clarification Coaching right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW after the short break.
Hi, this is Kwasi with the Kwasi Homes team. As a real estate agent, I love helping my clients make the most of their investment. When you are selling your fixer-upper, tear-down, or buildable land, you not only want to make the most out of your property, you have so many other factors to consider. Can the buyer get financing? Do you want a bunch of people walking through the property? How long will it take to close and get my money? That's where I come in. Strategy and experience are critical with these types of properties. I'll help you measure your options, hammer out the details, and get the best value. If you are considering selling your fixer-upper, teardown, or buildable land, give me a call, 206-854-4132. That's 206-854-4132. This is Kwasi with the Kwasi Homes team. Start by investing in experience and strategy. All conversations are confidential. Call 206-854-4132.
Would you like to make a real difference for local individuals and families that are struggling with poverty, homelessness, abuse, and violence? Assistance League of the East Side is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization that works to improve the lives of our neighbors every day. With your generosity, we can help individuals and families right here in our community through our philanthropic programs, including Operation School Bell. This year, Operation School Bell has provided 3,500 local children in need the opportunity to shop for new clothes, shoes, and coats. This helps them focus on learning, and they go to school with more confidence. To learn more about how you can become a volunteer with our organization or make a tax-deductible donation, visit aleastside.org.
Are you going through a transitional period in your career or in your life? Are you tired of not being able to reach your personal and professional goals? Claire Jones at Clarifications Coaching helps people just like you harness the power of their minds to fulfill their potential and live their best lives. She uses the latest neuroscience research to inform her coaching practices and takes pride in supporting others along their own rewarding journeys towards self-empowerment. Claire abides by the highest guidelines and standards of professional coaching as set forth by the International Coach Federation, the world's largest association of professional coaches.
This is Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching. To learn more about my NeuroLeadership and Wellness Coaching services, visit my website at clarificationscoaching.com or follow me on Instagram at clarificationscoaching. Again, that's clarificationscoaching.com or at clarificationscoaching on Instagram.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 2nd show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts. We're here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching, NeuroLeadership and Empowering Your Brain. Claire, thank you so much for joining us in studio. First time
Yes,
here with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and a little bit about Claire. Claire is a neuroleadership and wellness coach in Seattle, Washington. Coming from a background in the art world, she founded her first business 2 years out of college. She worked in a small business development for a while and found that leaders could only develop their business as far as they were willing and able to develop themselves. So true. Claire became fascinated with the concept of personal development and how it corresponded with her own self-actualization process, so that she decided to pursue a career in supporting others along their rewarding journeys towards self-improvement. Now Claire uses the latest neuroscience research to inform her coaching practices to her clients and harness their power of their minds and maximize their personal and professional potential.
Claire, this is fun. Elaborate. You went into a bunch of fancy words there.
Yes.
What exactly?
Neurolanguage, neuroscience.
Yeah, neuro stuff.
Yes.
What do you do? Tell us about it. Elaborate a little bit.
It's basically using brain science to examine the brain and find out which areas light up when you're doing leadership tasks. So the 4 facets of leadership to be effective are making decisions, facilitating change, collaborating with others, and self-regulation. And so the NeuroLeadership Institute looks at those areas of the brain and sees what lights up when you're doing those kind of tasks. So then you can hopefully optimize your brain activity in a way that lets you be a better leader. And so I use their research to kind of just inform my coaching practices.
That is crazy.
Love that.
Like
Well,
she's
if you
talking
could
about
learn how to take care of your body, take care of your heart, take care of your mind, and if you can learn to use your brain to maximize the results that you're getting and to have a happier life, I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah, she's talking about like literally seeing it light up too. Like you're not, you're not hiding behind some show. Like this is really lighting up in your brain. This is data that you
Yeah.
could actually learn from on how you're consciously or subconsciously reacting to things, right?
Totally. Yeah, that's
Wow.
what's really fascinated me about it, because leadership has always kind of been a soft science. It's mostly based on behavioral and observing people in leadership contexts and making educated guesses. They're like, well, maybe that worked for that leader. Let's try it for this leader and see if it works for them. But using the fMRI machine, it's a new technology. It's only really been used in this context for the last 20 years. They're now able to see exactly what happens in your brain.
How exciting.
So it's
Wow.
kind of hard science meets soft science for leadership skills.
Yeah, I love that.
cool.
So share a little bit more about your why behind and how you got in and started your coaching business.
Sure, yeah. So as you mentioned, I did start out in small business development, and that trend for leaders to not be able to get to that next level in their businesses because they were running against personal limitations. They had mindsets and habits and perspectives that got them to this point in their business, and they were, mostly functional, mostly sustainable, but they couldn't get to that next level. They couldn't really jump that hoop, and they just ended up plateauing. So more often than not, they had to work on these personal mindsets, personal limitations, personal perspectives that were limiting them. And since I had been through my own personal development journey after closing my first business, it feels like a failure when your first business closes. And it's really a journey of personal development to get beyond that. And so I just become absolutely fascinated with this concept of neuroleadership, because I had been researching leadership skills and practices for the businesses that I was working with, and just became fascinated. I was just like, this is awesome. Like, I was reading neuroscience research papers for fun in my free time. I was like, what is happening? I was like, why am I reading this 600-page textbook for fun?
Oh
like, who does that? But
somebody that's really passionate about what she's doing.
Yeah.
And that, that really is what makes an expert and makes a leader, is picking a field of something that you're really passionate about.
Totally. Yeah. And so I decided that coaching was pretty much the way that I wanted to move forward in that, because I didn't really get lit up as much with the business consulting and business development as I did with the personal side of things.
Tina, another tragedy to triumph story. Her tragedy led her to her passion.
It always does.
And now
Unless you don't embrace the tragedy, then you miss the triumph that is waiting there for you. Yeah, so true.
Love it. So you refer to specifically neuroleadership. Let's talk a little bit about what is that?
NeuroLeadership, that comes from the NeuroLeadership Institute. They're over on the East Coast, and they just basically look at all these fMRIs, and they do all of these studies, and they actually have really close relationships with big companies like HP and Microsoft, and they work with people within their companies to see how they can create better leaders. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So how do you frame your leadership coaching sessions? What's that look like?
as I mentioned before, there's the four facets of effective leadership: making decisions, facilitating change, collaborating with others, and self-regulation. So I use those four areas to frame our sessions. And we start out in the first session with a wheel with the four quadrants. And I ask them to rate based on their satisfaction levels, comfort levels with those skill sets 1 to 10. And then we look at what have you discovered through that process, and then we talk about powerful questions, and we look into what you're learning about yourself. Who are you being? What mindsets are you relying on? What perspectives are you relying on? And then we use that learning process and self-reflective process, because a lot of people don't have the time to sit down and really self-reflect, especially if they're a business leader because they just can't really justify the time. There's too many things on your to-do list. So having that space to really self-reflect and use those powerful questions that I have from my coaching background, it really intensifies that learning experience and makes those insights more tangible. And then at the end of every session, we come up with a action plan for you to do in the next coming weeks. So I try to space out my sessions every other week because that gives you enough time to make progress on your action plans. And the thing is that they actually create their own actions. I don't tell them what to do because I'm not an expert in their life. They're the expert in their life.
Yeah.
So
You just help them get to that answer. And that's what the best coaching is you ask the right questions and you get them to continue to answer until they come up with their own solution. And so I love that. And yeah, I call it really reflecting. You have to have that time. It's critically important. It's as important. We get up and brush our teeth every day. We take a shower every day. We eat when we're hungry. We drink when we're thirsty. And why we don't work on in self-improvement, creating that space, our affirmations, our reflection, good and the bad things, all of that, so critically important. So I really, really love what you're doing and what a difference that you're making in the world and to people that hire you. So thank you.
Yeah, totally.
And Claire, you're also help people with wellness. So with your wellness coaching sessions, what does that entail?
I use a similar framework that comes out of the NeuroLeadership Institute. They came up with a framework called the Healthy Mind Platter, and that's 7 aspects of your life that should be balanced in order to have optimal brain functioning. And so you can divide those into social needs, physical needs, and cognitive needs. So the social needs are connecting time and playtime. The physical needs are sleep time and physical time, like exercise. And then the cognitive needs are focus time, time in, and time down. And so we do the same kind of wheel aspect where we look at those 7 slices and find out what their satisfaction levels are with those. And then we use that as fodder for moving forward with our powerful questioning.
So, Claire, who do you work with? Who is your perfect client that's going to most benefit from coaching with you?
Sure. It's funny because I didn't really intend it for it to be this way, but it has turned out that most of my clients so far have been women who are in career transitions.
Okay.
I have been through a ton
you
of...
attract the people you can help most.
Well, exactly.
Yes.
I've been through tons of career transitions myself, and it's just I'm on the same page with them, you know, and I can instantly see where they're struggling or where they're succeeding, and I have that ability to create that space in a very authentic and genuine way, and it's really rewarding.
Yeah, so if you're a female listening to the show, I mean, she'll work with maybe a guy here or there, but if you're a female listening to the show and you're transitioning in your career, which is going to have a effect on your life as well, call the show so we can connect you with Claire.
So these specific, you say women in transition, and you just attract what you attract, right? What your brain's putting out there, just it comes back to you with your life experiences and your passion. So what specifically do you see as far as challenges with the folks that you help?
It's funny because career transitions can mean a lot of things. You know, a lot of people are on a lot of different paths. And so I've worked with women who are transitioning from home to work. You know, maybe they've been in the home for a long time and now they want to go out and get a job. I've worked with women who are going from work to home. You know, maybe they've come up across physical limitations. One of my clients was recently diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And so she just had to severely limit the amount of time that she spent at work and the amount of time that she was physical at work too, because of the amount of pain that she was going through. And being a woman that really prided herself in her level of productivity, it was really hard for her to be like, no, I actually have to focus on myself. It's like vital to my health at this point.
Yeah.
And so that's one challenge. And another challenge is if you are just, you know, increasing your roles in your current position or switching positions within the same company and you realize that you have limitations. You know, maybe you've never been in a leadership role before and you have to have that skill of collaborating with others and influencing them to get them to cooperate and get work done. So I work with those kind of women as well.
And there's a lot of women that I don't know why it seems like in the recent years we see a lot more women that are finding what they've been doing for decades is not working for them anymore, and they're finding their true passion. And so that would be a definitely a career transition that is perfect for your space. So Claire, what is most rewarding to what you do?
It has to be that aha moment. You know, when you're in that coaching session and you're working through this challenge that they're facing, and at first the path is really murky. You know, they have a feeling something's not right there, but they're not really sure what. And then we always call that in coaching sessions, the shift is like, usually it's a big block of silence from the client because they are absorbing what they just realized. And that moment is just so powerful because you're really just like blowing their mind. And that aha moment is just so, like, I could have to stop myself from laughing when that's happening because I'm just so delighted that they're having that moment but I also just want to let them have that space. Yeah. But that it's really rewarding.
Well, you can see it's rewarding because you have just a huge smile on your face.
Yeah.
And how cool is that? Because that's the pinnacle of change. You know, at that moment, they are shifting their reality and they have a new perspective. They're looking at things from a different way. And you've created that, which has got to be feeling pretty good after a moment like that.
I would say more facilitate than create, but
True. Yeah, it's because it's their reality, but you help them to get to that moment, right?
Yeah, totally.
So tell us, Claire, what is next for you?
Well, I'm actually in the process of creating some workshops and hopefully some eventual retreats in the area. That's kind of the next step that I'm looking at because, you know, I do one-to-one coaching, but it's a lot more impactful to impact a group of people, you know, and make that message a little more broadcasted. So I'm actually partnering with a yoga instructor and a physical health coach who focuses more on the biological aspects and chemical aspects of health. And we're working together to create workshops and hopefully retreats down the line.
Yeah, how exciting. Well, excited to see as you expand and grow your reach out in your coaching business. So, Claire, thank you so much for joining us in studio. It was a real pleasure to have you and look forward to having you back as well.
Yes, thank you.
And coming up next on the Money Hour, Joe Mason with Caring Transitions, South Puget Sound, Downsizing and Estates Planning, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW after the short break.
Are you going through a transitional period in your career or in your life? Are you tired of not being able to reach your personal and professional goals? Claire Jones at Clarifications Coaching helps people just like you harness the power of their minds to fulfill their potential and live their best lives. She uses the latest neuroscience research to inform her coaching practices and takes pride in supporting others along their own rewarding journeys towards self-empowerment. Claire abides by the highest guidelines and standards of professional coaching as set forth by the International Coach Federation, the world's largest association of professional coaches.
This is Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching. To learn more about my NeuroLeadership and Wellness Coaching services, visit my website at clarificationscoaching.com or follow me on Instagram at clarificationscoaching. Again, that's clarificationscoaching.com or at clarificationscoaching on Instagram.
Hi, this is Kwasi with the Kwasi Homes team. As a real estate agent, I love helping my clients make the most of their investment. When you are selling your fixer-upper, tear down, or buildable land, you not only want to make the most out of your property, you have so many other factors to consider. Can the buyer get financing? Do you want a bunch of people walking through the property? How long will it take to close and get my money? That's where I come in. Strategy and experience are critical with these types of properties. I'll help you measure your options, hammer out the details, and get the best value. If you are considering selling your fixer-upper, teardown, or buildable land, give me a call, 206-854-4132. That's 206-854-4132. This is Kwasi with the Kwasi Homes team. Start by investing in experience and strategy. All conversations are confidential. Call 206-854-4132.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, March 2nd show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts bring in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and how they'll affect your money. We bring into the studio each week the best of the best in all areas regarding your financing. By listening to the show, you'll hear everything that you need about money. If you're hearing a show at a different time or day, you are listening to rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or to connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio, last guest for today is Joe Mason with Caring Transitions South Puget Sound, Downsizing and Estate Sales Services. Joe, thank you for coming back in studio again.
Thanks for having me.
And a little bit about Joe. Joe has gone on 4 years of experience as a certified relocation and transition specialist. Retired after 31 years in the military, 27 of those were full-time for Washington Army National Guard. Joe, again, thank you for coming in and visiting us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Joe, it's been a while since you've been here with us in studio. What's new with Caring Transitions?
Well, the long-awaited platform for our online auctions, CT Bids, was launched. We've talked about it several times, and they finally took the plunge. They got it going, and Jennifer Black in Seattle has been very successful using it. What's great about the platform is a much easier interface for users. It's prettier to look at and easier to use, and it's easier for buyers and sellers to use. So it's a great tool.
Well, excited that that is launched and, prettier to use. I think sometimes people don't really understand the importance of that, because when you're looking at something and really interacting with it, if it's easy to look at, it's going to remove, any emotional stress that you have attached to it if it's not, if it's not pleasurable. So, Joe, the thought of downsizing can really be overwhelming and stressful for someone who's been in their home for many years. So how do you help with that transition process?
Well, we start off with a free consultation where we sit down with the client and learn what their goals are, what their timeline is, what do they need done, and how can we help. And we really remove the stress by, it's how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. We break the process down. We break it down to bite-sized chunks for them, and then we lay out a plan for them, and it really, really helps.
Speaking of a plan, you mentioned, Joe, that the first step is doing a space plan. Is that required?
It's not required, but we really encourage it. So part of the process, we'll come in and do a free consultation. Somebody's been in their home for a long time and they're ready to get a smaller space. So not necessarily downsizing, maybe it's right sizing for them. So we'll offer to do that space plan for them, and the space plan is the first step. We'll figure out where they're going and we'll work backwards, and we'll figure out we'll build a diagram of the place they're going to, and we'll measure each piece of furniture they'd like to take, and we'll do a 2-scale drawing for them. And that really gives them a great deal of confidence in knowing that they're not going to take too much, they're not going to take too little, and it takes the stress out of the process.
Yeah, and it kind of sounds like if you think about it this way, if you're budgeting, you have a better financial situation. If you're putting together a business plan for a company, you're going to have a better success. So it's the same thing. You're really putting together that budget or that plan and that goal to make sure that everything is going to fit where it needs to and that it is the correct plan. So I love that. So, Joe, moving day is most stressful day for many people. How does Caring Transitions take care of the stress or remove that stress from the entire process?
Well, by having a good space plan put together, we come in the day before the move and we pack everything up for the client. So everything but what they need to be comfortable that night. And then we'll come in the following morning and we'll meet the movers that we've helped coordinate for. And then we'll make sure all of the right things get on the truck. We'll meet them at the new residence, and we'll get things set up according to the space plan. What's great about it is when somebody walks in, we'll have set everything up according to their space plan, but sometimes a plan looks good on paper, but when they walk in, they want some adjustments made, and it's really not a problem. We'll make sure that everything's to their liking before we leave. A couple of things I'd like to say about how we put somebody's plan together is we do a lot of things like mirroring. Some of our clients have some memory issues, so we want their new place to look as familiar as possible.
Oh,
so
nice.
So if there's a particular painting hanging over a couch, we'll do the same thing in their new residence. If the curio cabinet is set up in the corner, what we'll do is we'll take it apart, we'll dust it off, that's often necessary. We'll clean everything up after having taken pictures of it, and then we'll put it back together in their new place so everything looks familiar. It makes it that much easier for them to be relaxed and enjoy their new place.
So it sounds like you really put a lot of love into, what you're doing for your clients.
Well, we know it's a very stressful time for them. So when they walk in, we ask them not to be there. It kind of gets crowded in small spaces. And it's kind of like making sausage. It's not pretty to watch, but the end result is really great.
Yeah.
And so we'll take that space plan, we'll put the place together. And then when they walk in the afternoon, we've unboxed all of their items. We've removed the boxes, the packing paper, the bubble wrap. We're ready to hang pictures. We've made the bed. We've hooked up the electronics, and they are all set to enjoy their new space.
I actually moved recently, and I think moving is, if there was a hell, it would be moving eternally.
Yeah, I was going to say, you went on, we should have called Joe.
Yeah, he's a scholar and a saint over here. I mean, rock star, good Lord. It takes a village,
All of our clients aren't necessarily elderly, but that's our primary audience.
Well, I'm not elderly, and I couldn't stand any minute of it.
But having a 2-year-old, or how old is London?
2.5.
Yeah, having a 2.5-year-old and trying to move, that's a little bit crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, she's all over the place.
You need to really put a market out there, Joe. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, there's a big market for that, let me tell you. So let's talk about getting through all the pains of moving. You're in your new residence. What happens to all the stuff people got rid of?
Well, if they didn't take it with them, we can assist shipping family heirlooms if that needs to be done, if their family's not around to pick those things up. Any property that's left, we can help liquidate that depending on what they have, the volume of the things and the quality and the quantity. So we can go in and do an assessment and make a recommendation on would they benefit from a physical estate sale, or would our client do better with an online auction. Often an online auction, they'll get a better return because if they have a small collection of things, we're appealing to a national audience, not just who can get to their property on any given weekend for a sale.
It's a really great part of your service that you offer. You do the organization, the plan, you call it the space plan, and then you do the actual move, and you get everything all set up perfectly with all the care. I love with the caring transitions needed for that, and then you're taking care of stuff and really advising them in the estate side, sale side. So I love that. Joe, what are the advantages of using, out of everything I just said, on top of that, caring transitions versus trying to do this on your own? I mean, how bad can that look for somebody when they're trying to coordinate and take care of this themselves?
I think sometimes a family means well, they want to help, but many of the kids who are available to help, or the parents think they're available to help, they've got lives, they've got families, they've got jobs and responsibilities, and this is a process. And some families just don't have time, so it's great that we can be available to them and be ready to step up and take care of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all my friends bailed on me when you asked them to move. Hey, that day?
No, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm busy. What can I tell you? So I wish I would have hired you, Joe. That's all I'm saying. So what should a family like myself be looking for when hiring a company that do the services you guys do?
It's great to look for a certified relocation and transition specialist. All owners of Caring Transitions have that certification. Also, we're licensed, bonded, and insured. You want to make sure that the people you're hiring aren't paid under the table. All our employees are W-2 employees. You can ask for references, look for reviews online. And the great thing about our folks is you know that everyone's undergone a background check every 2 years. So
nice.
Yeah, and that's critically important, especially in your space when you're in so intimately in someone's home and their belongings and everything. So, Joe, somebody's thinking about hiring your company for services. When do they get in contact with you?
Earlier is better. We can identify more options for people. So people who are in the habit of planning, that's fantastic. But many of the calls that we get, death, divorce, somebody's fallen and there's a disability, they need help right away.
Yeah.
Their circumstances are just what they are, and they need help. And so we figure out what we can do for them. And if we can't help them, we know of other resources that we can direct them to if that's the case.
So you're going to put a plan together way in advance so that it's set up when that time comes. That could be an option as well.
That's the best option,
Yes,
but that's not always
of course.
always going to happen.
Yeah.
Life just has a way of working things out.
So what about the free consultation itself? How long does that take?
Well, we plan for an hour. Sometimes it takes less. Sometimes if there are somebody's got war stories to exchange, it takes a little bit longer. But we kind of shoot for an hour, and we can make a good assessment and a recommendation in that time.
Yeah. So, Joe, when you're assisting a family with moving to an adult community center or in that type of living situation, how are things different in that process?
There are many times, more often than not, people are downsizing. And so we have to work with them through that process to take the things that are most important. Sometimes when people are just moving, sometimes they're moving to a space equal size, and then it's just not as much work. So it's really the smaller space that they're moving to, the more work they need or help they need to figure out what's going to fit, what's important to them, and how are they going to make it work.
Wonderful. Joe, thank you again for joining us back in studio.
Thank you.
This is your host, Tina Mitchell.
And co-host Keelan Harvey.
Signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and Sunday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you here or be here next weekend, same time, same place, right here, 11:50 a.m., KKNW.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC.